trillion yen, around 25 billion US dollars a year, for childcare and other measures to support parents. A group of Tokyo-based public think tanks said last year that Japan needed about 4 times as many foreign workers by 2040 to achieve the government's economic growth forecasts. Tokyo had the most foreign residents, of 581,000 of them, or 4.2% of the capital's population. And see, like, these think tanks are already thinking in a more realistic and more actually solvable method of just bringing in more foreign workers. Let the foreigners into the goddamn country. Not only let them into the country, but make them feel more welcome. Make it easier for them to assimilate with the Japanese culture. And look, that's not going to happen overnight, obviously. Foreigners living in Japan who have come and gone have tried doing that for the longest time, but this Japanese mentality of it being propped up on this very strong sense of xenophobia, you know, not allowing or not accepting fully anyone who is non-Japanese, aka a foreigner in Japan, it's going to be really difficult to achieve this overnight. But it seems to me that at least these like Tokyo-based public think tanks, as this article puts it, has a better fucking idea on how to solve this situation than the goddamn government does. So it really is kind of concerning just how much the Japanese government is like trying to sidestep this issue, trying to sidestep this whole problem, because again, it is so anybody, you don't even have to be a master in any kind of economics or be a government official, know anything about how the government operates to understand that the solution is very simple. Just let the goddamn gaijins in. It's really that simple. You'll solve the declining birth rate because probably foreigners compared to actual Japanese people in Japan have more of an interest to, you know, have kids in Japan, raise a family in Japan. Also, more foreigners in the workforce is not only going to help with Japan becoming a lot more globalized, because compared to other Asian countries like, say, Korea, who is a lot more open to having foreign workers in the country. Obviously, I don't know the full statistics of that. You're going to have to look that up yourself. But from the feel of it, it seems like Japan is really lagging behind on a lot of aspects, especially when it comes to globalization. And again, I don't understand why they don't implement this, because it really does seem like every issue is going to be solved from this. And now we're getting to this position where the government is planning to go 3.5 trillion yen into debt when they're already in debt to like support childcare and other measures to support parents. But if there are no parents in the country, then where is that money going to? Literally nowhere. So yeah, obviously there are many layers to this conversation to be had. Obviously, I'm not a fucking expert in anything. This is purely just how I see it and how I view this problem as someone, again, who has spent like half their life in this country and is pretty, I would say, knowledgeable on the whole, you know, inner workings of how Japanese society works, just from what I have experienced. And again, you don't have to be an expert in any of this shit to understand that there is a very simple solution, and the Japanese government are just not doing it. They're completely missing the point. They're going to throw all of our taxpayer money into this thing that is probably just a lost cause, is not going to directly aid in the root of the problem, which for some reason they just don't understand. So yeah, very annoying, very concerning that even after all of these very obvious statistics, the Japanese government is like, fuck it. Let's throw more money into the pool where a couple of people are going to swim in, and we'll leave this full pool over here completely empty of any aids or resources. So yeah, that was just my kind of 2 cents on that topic. I know it's kind of a little bit of
window. Not sure if this is obvious, but hopefully what you recommend is a good show. No. Are you that guy who just recommended Redo of Healer? Second criteria. It needs to hit hard and it needs to hit fast. There are a lot of good anime that might not have the best start. It might take a few episodes to get into. Hard and fast. Okay. Third criteria. It still holds up today. There's a lot of, let's say, people who like to quote some starter anime, and they quote it because it was the anime that got them into anime back in the day. We just saw that with Michael B. Jordan. Remember the time when we just kind of like turned our heads to filler and we just like, oh, okay, so it's just anime doing anime things, you know? And as much as it pains me to say, some anime don't look as good as what I remember them looking like. This is kind of my own criteria. Fourth criteria. No anime bullshit. What do I mean by that? There are some things that anime have in common that if you're into the anime community, you might kind of be immune to that. Criteria. Fourth, some things that anime have in common that if you're into the anime community, you might kind of be immune to this kind of shit just because we become so used to it and we kind of brush it off as that, oh, it's just that weird fucking anime thing, you know? Oh, panty shots, oh, that's just part of anime. Incest, oh, you know, well, she's not related by blood, so it's anime. Which leads on to my next criteria. Is there an isekai in existence, even if it's fucking good, that does not have any anime bullshit in it? And I don't think there is.
They look like fat mom jeans, right?
No, they look good.
Capri? I haven't worn these till like 6.
Anime bullshit in it. And I don't think there is.
They look like fat mom jeans, right?
No, they look good.
Capri? I haven't worn these till like 6.
You look like alcoholic mom at the barbecue kind of vibes. Where's your wine? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, maybe that's exactly what
If you are below the age of 18, you're probably already fucking into anime. Let's be honest, okay? My kind of target demographic for making this list is like late teens all the way up to any kind of like old age you want. Let's think about someone like your mum, your dad, your grandma, your cousins that you see at your family reunion who have a normal 9-to-5 job.
Why are you thinking about my mom when you think of anime, huh?
Who doesn't? Let's be honest, Bacon Soldier. Who doesn't?
When you think of anime, huh?
Who doesn't? Let's be honest, Bacon Soldier. Who doesn't? Have you seen your mom? Let's start off with the blind pick.
I can see I'm blind.
This might sound like a normie answer, but I genuinely do not think there is a better blind pick than Attack on Titan. And I think it's the one that is most likely to get people into anime after they finish Attack on Titan. There are some shows in my mind that I feel you watch the show and you're like, okay, I'm done. And that's how I feel when I recommend Ghibli films to people. Because when you recommend Ghibli films to people, they're like, oh, I'm an anime fan. I've watched 2 Ghibli films. And I had no interest in watching the rest of anime because that shit's just weird. There's only a few anime I think can rival Attack on Titan in how much of a hook the first 2 episodes are. And it's one of the few anime that I think has actually matched the hype that it got. Moving on to the next one. If I were to look at shonen right now and pick out of the shonen that I've seen, what I think would be the best blind recommendation in the modern day and age. Are you ready for this? I don't want to show the next slide, man. I don't want to show the next slide. Okay. Jujutsu Kaisen. I said it, okay? Now we get the salt out. Let me cook, okay? Because this is gonna be a long segment. Out of all of the modern shonen airing right now, I think it's the perfect balance of kind of everything. You look at Chainsaw Man, which I think does hit the ground running. I think that's a very, very good shonen. But I think that's a little too weird. You know, if I knew the person and I knew they were into like edgier and weirder stuff, I'd probably go, you know, check out Chainsaw Man. Something like My Hero Academia is a little too safe. It was basically between Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, and I just think Jujutsu Kaisen gets there a little bit faster. It shows everything that a good shonen should show in its first few episodes. It gets running pretty quickly while still being safe, but not too safe. How's that? Did I save it, boys? Did I save it? Next, we go into psychological. It can't all be about punches and fights. It's still goated to this day. It's fucking Death Note, okay? I don't think anyone would argue about this pick. Monster, no, come on, man, come on. Monster, that's a slow burn. It's amazing, but it kind of is almost like a novel. Death Note comes out of the gate storming. Like Attack on Titan, it still to this day has one of the best hooks in anime. Tetsuo Araki, who is a famed action director, directed Death Note, and even in some of the scenes where they are over-explaining stuff, he manages to direct it in a way that is still compelling and catches your attention. Moving on to action. Obviously, people got tip-top brains, man. Sometimes you just need to watch someone punching each other. And it's fucking One Punch Man. There is no better than who said Boruto? Who the f said Boruto? One Punch Man, I feel, works the best in this modern day and age just because of how oversaturated superheroes have become in modern culture. So I really wanted to put Mob Psycho 100 here because I think that Mob Psycho 100 is a better show in my opinion. But again, going into something blind, I feel like One Punch Man is just easier to get. I'm just gonna fucking say, you actually need less IQ to understand One Punch Man, so I think One Punch Man is an easier recommendation. I wanted to put Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill, but holy shit, POV, you're talking to your mum. Mom, I'm gonna put on Gurren Lagann, and your mom's like, why are the girls not wearing any clothes? Why is that sniper in a bikini? I think if you were to recommend anime to like a young horny teenager, yes, Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill all the fucking way. Get hype, get horny. Moving on, let's go to drama. Someone said EastEnders. My drama pick that I would recommend to someone if they just want to feel something, if they just want to feel emotions, it is Silent Voice. Silent Voice is not only one of Kyoto Animation's best work, it is not only one of the hardest hitting anime I think I've seen, but it's such a human story without going overly melodramatic. The main girl emotes more while saying the bare minimum, more than most light novel characters who have 10 pages worth of dialogue. And I think the character animation in this is some of the best character animation in all of anime, just because of how many emotions you feel just by watching the main girl. Boruto has emotion too, man. Another one, I think Kyoto Animation is kind of goated in this category because I really narrowed this down.